Chief Obinna was not only one of the wealthiest men in Nigeria, but also one of the most revered. The name Obinna Group of Companies echoed in business circles from Lagos to Abuja. Yet, beyond his sprawling estates and influence, nothing gave him more pride than his only son, Chukwuloka Ease, fondly called Loco. Loco had spent the last 7 years studying medicine abroad. Brilliant, warm-hearted, and strikingly handsome, he had a presence that turned heads and a humility that warmed hearts. His smooth brown skin, curly hair, and infectious smile made him the dream of many young women in and outside Nigeria. But for Loco, love wasn't something he could afford to gamble on. He had seen how people changed around wealth. He had seen the fake smiles, the sugar-coated words, and the selfish motives. So he made a vow. He would only marry someone who loved him for who he truly was, not for the Obinna name or the money behind it. One afternoon, while Loco was packing up his things abroad, his phone rang. It was his father. "My son," Chief Obinna's deep voice boomed to the phone, filled with pride. "I am proud of you. You've kept your promise. Your graduation is here." "Thank you, Papa," Loco replied, smiling softly. "You remember our agreement, right?" The chief said, "You promised to start thinking about marriage right after school." Loco chuckled. "Yes, Papa. I haven't forgotten." "Good," Chief Obinna said. "There are 2 women I believe are suitable for you. They work in my company. Educated, beautiful, well-raised. I've watched them closely. One is Sandra Ezeakali, humble, graceful. The other is Jessica Igadolo, confident and hardworking." "Papa," Loco said slowly, raising an eyebrow, "you want to choose a wife for me?" "I'm not forcing you," Chief Obinna replied, laughing. "I'm only suggesting. You can choose anyone, but at least meet these 2. Loco nodded slowly. "All right, Papa, let me return first." After the end of the call, Loco sat in silence, then smiled as an idea danced into his mind. What if I return, not as Obinna's son, but as a common man? Let me wear a security uniform and work at the gate. That way, I'll know who truly sees my heart. The next morning, Chief Obinna leaned back in his leather chair, deep in thought. His son's request was risky, but wise. When Loco finally returned, the father didn't greet him with luxury. Instead, he handed him a plain security uniform and keys to the small boy's quarters. "Remember," he warned, "don't reveal yourself until the time is right." "I won't, Papa," Loco said, smiling. The following week, a new security man appeared at Obinna Group of Companies. His name tag read Mr. Lokchukwu, and nobody paid him much attention. Nobody except Sandra. "Good morning, sir." She greeted each day with a warm smile. Loco would nod politely. "Good morning, madam." Jessica, on the other hand, barely looked his way. She walked past with a swing of hips, tossing her long wigs and puffing behind like royalty. In the first few days, Loco watched quietly. He swept the gate, opened doors, and listened. He saw Jessica bossing junior staff, speaking down to cleaners, and walking into offices with an air of superiority. One lunchtime, she bragged in the cafeteria, "Soon, you'll all call me Madam. I'll be Chief Obinna's daughter-in-law. Watch and see." Her friends clapped, but behind her back, some rolled their eyes. Meanwhile, Sandra was the opposite. She spoke kindly, shared her lunch with a cleaner one afternoon, and even brought Loco a cold bottle of water during a hot shift. "It's scorching today," she said with a gentle laugh. "You're doing a great job." Loco took the bottle, deeply touched. "Thank you, madam." He looked down at the bottle for a long moment after she left, heart stirred. Back in the mansion that night, Chief Obinna asked, "How was work today, my son?" Loco laughed. "Full of drama, Papa. But this test, it's working. Are you still sure about this path?" "I've never been more sure," Loco replied. "This way, I'll know who truly sees me, and who only sees my name." But neither father nor son knew that something unexpected was brewing. Someone else had been watching. Not just the staff, but another relative of Chief Obinna, his cunning nephew Desmond, who had always eyed the company as his inheritance. And when Desmond saw Loco working in secret at the gate, he didn't just see a game, he saw a threat. He wasn't about to let that gate man inherit the empire. He was going to expose everything and ruin the plan from inside. The sun rose gently over the sprawling Obina Group headquarters, casting long shadows across the gate where Lokchukwu, secretly Dr. Chukwuloka Ease, stood with his broom. A quiet strength had settled in him. Day after day, he continued to play the role of a humble security guard, sweeping the compound, opening gates, and observing the hearts of those around him. Sandra became a constant bright light in his day. Every morning, she stopped to greet him with a smile, and every evening, she nodded respectfully as she left. One evening, she even brought him a plate of jollof rice wrapped carefully with foil. "You've been on your feet all day," she said. "You need to eat well." Loco stared at the meal, deeply moved. "Thank you, Sandra. I don't know what to say." "Just enjoy it," she replied, brushing it off like it was nothing. But inside, her heart beat a little faster every time she saw him. Sandra was not blind. There was something about the security man, the way he carried himself, the way he spoke, the respect in his voice. He was nothing like the other workers. There was dignity in his poverty, a kind of nobility she couldn't explain. Meanwhile, Jessica was planning her future wedding. She had already gone to a tailor to begin designing her Madame Wardrobe, had told several junior staff to watch how they talked to her, and even hinted to her landlord that she would soon move to Banana Island. But in the shadows, another story was forming. Desmond, Chief Obina's nephew, had watched the new security man with growing suspicion. He knew Loco very well, had seen photos of him abroad, even met him during one of Chief's birthday parties. So when he passed the gate one afternoon and saw the familiar face beneath the face cap, recognition hit him like a hammer. "That's Loco," he whispered to himself. "What madness is this?" He waited for confirmation. The next morning, he paid a visit to Chief Obina's mansion and pretended it was just to greet his uncle. "Uncle," he said while sipping fresh orange juice, "I noticed a new gate man at the company. Looks very familiar. Looks like your son, Loco." Chief Obina didn't flinch. "Desmond, your eyes must be deceiving you. Loco is still abroad." Desmond chuckled slowly. Must be the sun playing tricks on me then." But deep inside, he was boiling. Desmond had always assumed he'd take over company. He'd been by Chief's side for years, managing branches, attending meetings. The idea that Loco could swoop in and claim it all, even after being away for so long, was unacceptable to him. Later that day, Desmond met privately with Jessica. "I know something about the new security man," he said, his voice low. Jessica blinked. "What?" "You like rich men, right? Want to be madam of the company?" "Of course," she said proudly. Desmond leaned in. "Then you need to be very careful how you treat that security man. He's not who you think he is." Jessica laughed. "Please, I insult that boy almost every day. He's just a poor nobody." Desmond smirked. "Then you've already failed the test." Jessica's brows furrowed. "What do you mean?" Desmond smiled darkly. "You'll find out soon enough." Elsewhere, love was blooming. One quiet evening, Loco waited by the gate after hours, nervous. When Sandra walked out holding her handbag, he took a deep breath. "Sandra, can I speak to you for a moment?" She paused, looked surprised, but nodded. "Of course." They stepped to a quiet corner near the garden. I don't know how to say this," Loco began, looking into her eyes. "But I can't keep pretending. I care about you. I think about you every day. I may not be rich, but my heart is real. Will you be my girlfriend?" Sandra blinked. Then she smiled, not the polite office smile, but a warm, open one. "Loco," she said softly, "I've liked you for a long time, but I waited for you to speak. I didn't want to look desperate." Loco's heart skipped. "You liked me all along?" "Yes," she said, nodding. They both laughed gently, and she added, "But we must keep this private. Jessica and her gossip army will destroy us." Loco agreed immediately. "I promise. Just you and me." Their relationship began in secret. Stolen glances, short smiles, and quick notes passed at the gate. But Jessica was growing suspicious. She'd noticed Sandra's glow and how often she passed by the gate. So she did what she always did. She paid a cleaner to spy. Follow that gate man. I want to know what he's up to. The following evening, the cleaner saw what she needed to see, a kiss in the shadows, behind the garden. She ran back and told Jessica everything. By morning, Jessica had a storm in her belly. She stormed into the HR room where Sandra was organizing files. "I caught you," she yelled. Sandra turned calmly. "Jessica, what's wrong with you now? You're dating the security boy." Jessica screamed. "You thought I wouldn't find out?" Sandra looked her in the eye and said quietly, "So what if I am?" Jessica's voice shook with rage. "I'm telling Chief Obina today. Both of you will be sacked." But Sandra stepped forward. "Try it, and I'll tell him how you sneak into Mr. Raymond's office every evening." Jessica froze. Her lips parted, but no words came. "I've seen enough, Jessica," Sandra continued. "You chase Raymond, and you chase the chief's son, who you've never even met. Be careful. You might lose both." Jessica hissed. "You're just jealous." "No," Sandra said calmly. "I'm just honest. And your arrogance will be your downfall." What neither woman knew was that Desmond had already taken a secret photo of the loco changing out his uniform at the mansion. He was headed to Chief Obina's office. And this time, he wasn't coming to talk. He was coming to destroy everything. Desmond paced outside Chief Obina's private study, his fists clenched around the printed photograph in his hand. The image was clear. Loco, still in security uniform, pulling off his face cap and entering the boys' quarters behind the mansion. No one else might recognize him, but Desmond knew his cousin's features well. "This is the end of your little drama," he muttered. Inside the room, Chief Obina was reading a business report when Desmond entered without knocking. He looked up, frowning. "Desmond, what is it?" "Uncle," Desmond said firmly, "I have something to show you, and I hope you won't say I didn't warn you." He dropped the photo on the table. Obina's eyes scanned it. He gave nothing away. "I knew it," Desmond continued. "That so-called security guard is your son. What is the meaning of this nonsense? Why is he heir to this empire sweeping gates and dating common staff?" Chief Obina calmly placed the photo down. "How many times have I told you not to meddle in what you do not understand?" "Understand?" Desmond's voice rose. "Uncle, do you know the shame this will bring to your name? Your son pretending to be a cleaner? People will say we've lost our minds." Obina stood up slowly, his voice low but heavy. "Do you think this company was built on pride? It was built on discipline and values. I want my son to choose a wife with wisdom, not based on her heels, makeup, or surname. But—" "I'm still speaking," the chief interrupted. "You forget I see through people. You think I don't know your heart? You want this company, but you'll never lead it, because you don't have the humility to understand what true leadership means." Desmond's face flushed with anger. "I see," he whispered. "Then prepare for the storm." With that, he turned and stormed out. Back at the company, Jessica was preparing her final move. After learning about Sandra and the security man's secret romance, her rage boiled like stew on high flame. She didn't just want Sandra fired. She wanted her humiliated. That afternoon, when Sandra stepped into the HR department, Jessica was already waiting. "I'm reporting you," she snapped. "Both of you. You and your rag-wearing lover." Sandra crossed her arms. "And I'm reporting you, Jessica. You and your late-night sneaking into Mr. Raymond's house." Jessica's eyes widened. "You've been spying on me?" "I didn't need to. You made yourself visible," Sandra said calmly. "But go ahead. Let's both report. Let's see who the chief believes." Jessica smirked. "He'll believe me. Always." But that same afternoon, while Jessica was plotting her revenge, Loco sat quietly with Sandra at the back garden. "I have something to tell you," Loco began, his voice nervous. Sandra smiled. "What is it?" "I'm not who you think I am." Sandra raised an eyebrow. "What do you mean?" Loco took a deep breath. "My name isn't Lokshakwu. My real name is Dr. Chukwuloko Obina, the only son of Chief Obina." Sandra's smile faded. "I disguised myself to find someone who would love me without knowing I'm the chief's son," he continued. "And you saw me before anyone else did." Sandra's lips parted, but no words came. He leaned forward. I understand if you feel betrayed, but I needed to be sure. She remained silent, her eyes searching his. Then, softly, she asked, "So, everything was real?" "Yes," Loco said. "Every word. Every moment." Sandra nodded slowly, tears forming. "Then I forgive you, because I love the man I met, uniform or not." They embraced under the setting sun. But their peace was short-lived. The next day, a company-wide message was sent. All staff were to gather at the Obina mansion by Saturday morning. A major announcement would be made. Jessica was thrilled. "This is it," she told her friend. "He's going to introduce his son, and that will be me, the chosen wife." But Desmond had a different plan. That night, he anonymously emailed a photo of Loco in a security uniform to several top staff in the company, attaching a fake message. "The chief's son caught sneaking into a female worker's room. Scandal? You decide." By morning, the rumors had spread like wildfire. He was a spy. He kissed Sandra behind the building. He's a fraud. Jessica smirked. "Now let's see how Sandra escapes this one." Saturday arrived. The Obina mansion was lit up with white and gold decorations. A canopy stretched across the compound. Staff gathered in their best clothes, murmuring and whispering. Some were excited. Some were confused. Then Chief Obina walked out, holding a microphone. "My people," he said warmly, "I thank you for honoring this invitation. Today, I want to introduce my son, not just as my heir, but as a man." Loco stepped forward, dressed sharply in a navy blue suit. Gasps filled the air. Jessica screamed, "It's the Gate Man." "He's the chief's son?" others whispered. Chief Obina smiled. "Yes, this was his idea. To learn who among you could see the heart before the title." Jessica's knees wobbled. "But that's not all," Chief Obina continued. "Today, he will propose to the woman who passed the test." Loco turned and faced Sandra, who stood at the side, glowing in a lilac gown. He took a knee. "Sandra, will you marry me?" Tears filled her eyes. "Yes." Cheers erupted. But Desmond, hiding at the edge of the crowd, clenched his fists. Just then, two policemen in plain clothes approached him. "Desmond Obina?" one asked. "Yes." "You're under arrest for forgery and defamation of character. You'll explain more at the station." Desmond's eyes widened. "What?" "I didn't." Chief Obina stepped forward. "I saw the email, nephew, and the lies. You wanted to destroy what you couldn't have." Desmond was taken away, yelling. Meanwhile, Jessica tried to approach Loco. "Please, I didn't know. I..." Loco held up a hand. "You only saw my uniform, not my heart." Sandra stepped forward. "And now you've lost both." Jessica turned, weeping, and walked out, past the same gate she used to ignore. The wedding bells were now ringing for the woman who chose love over gold. The days after proposal were filled with celebration. The news spread like wildfire. Dr. Chukwuloko Obina, the heir to one of Nigeria's largest conglomerates, had proposed to a humble worker, not an actress, not a daughter of a senator, not a social media queen, but Sandra Ezeokoli, a soft-spoken administrative officer with a warm smile and a quiet heart. Wedding preparations began at once. Chief Obina spared no expense. The family's estate in Lekki was transformed into a palace of light and flowers. Musicians were booked, caterers hired, and traditional outfits sewn by tailors flown in from Abuja. Despite all the grandeur, Sandra remained calm and grounded. She continued going to work until the final week, still greeting staff, still respecting cleaners, still saying thank you to the janitor who mopped the hallways. Larry, as Loco now resumed being called, watched her every move with admiration. His love had gone beyond excitement. It had matured into quiet assurance. But peace never lasted long. Jessica, nursing her shame like an untreated wound, refused to disappear quietly. She had gone underground for days, embarrassed by the public revelation, mocked by colleagues, and kicked out of the mansion by the guards. She spent nights planning a comeback. "If I can't have the chief's son," she muttered, "I'll expose the whole family. Somebody must pay." Then one night, while scrolling through her old chat messages. She remembered someone, Mr. Raymond, the former company representative who had mysteriously disappeared not long after proposal. Jessica sat up straight. She dialed the number she once saved under Plan B. To her surprise, it rang. "Hello," came a familiar voice. "Raymond," she said carefully. "It's Jessica." There was a pause. "Why are you calling me? You left without a word, and you owe me some explanations." "I owe you nothing." Jessica's voice rose. "You made me believe we had something, and you left me with this." There was silence. "I'm pregnant," she added. Raymond didn't respond immediately. Then finally he said, "That's not possible." Jessica's tone turned sharp. "Excuse me? I never touched you," Raymond said plainly. "You tried. You flirted. You even showed up at my house uninvited. But I kept my distance." Jessica's throat went dry. "You're lying." "I'm not. And I have the CCTV footage from my house to prove it." Jessica's world began spinning. "And one more thing," Raymond added, his voice like a blade. "I never worked for Chief Obina directly. I was planted there by an investor to watch Desmond. Your affair with him wasn't as private as you thought." Jessica collapsed into her chair. Raymond continued, "I suggest you stop spreading lies. You've done enough damage. Goodbye." The call ended. Jessica's hands trembled. Not only had she lost Loco, but now she couldn't pin her pregnancy on Raymond either. And Desmond? He was behind bars and would likely be disowned. For the first time in her life, Jessica realized she had nothing left. No man, no position, no fallback plan. Only herself. And even that seemed unfamiliar. Meanwhile, in the Obina household, preparations for the traditional wedding were almost complete. The compound was now decorated in Igbo royal colors, red, white, and gold. The gates were repainted. The air smelled of spices and rose water. Loco stood on the balcony overlooking the gardens. He was dressed in his father's vintage Iziagu, the same one Chief Obina wore when he married Loco's late mother. He touched the lion head embroidery and smiled. Chief Obina walked in with a bottle of palm wine. "My son," he said, "today is the day." Loco nodded. "Thank you for letting me walk this path." "It was your destiny to write," Obina replied, "and you've written it well." Then came a knock. A housekeeper entered, whispering something into the chief's ear. Chief Obina frowned. "She wants to speak to me?" "Here." "Yes, sir." "Let her come in." Jessica entered moments later, dressed modestly this time. Her hair was tied back, her eyes swollen. "Good afternoon, sir," she said quietly. Obina nodded. "You've come." She looked at Loco. "I didn't come to beg. I came to apologize. Truly, I've been blind, arrogant. I hurt people. I disrespected your family. I chased shadows and lost everything." Loco didn't speak. "I know it's too late. I don't expect forgiveness. But I had to say it." There was a silence. Chief Obina finally said, "You were lost, but you're not beyond redemption. Go and fix your life." Jessica nodded slowly. "Thank you, sir." As she turned to leave, Sandra arrived, dressed in a deep blue wrapper and coral beads. Jessica stopped. Their eyes met. Sandra stepped closer and said softly, "I hope one day you find what's real." Jessica's eyes welled with fresh tears. She nodded and walked away. Outside, she sat by the gate and looked up at the mansion. The same gate she used to ignore now stood as a symbol of humility and the price of pride. That evening, under the stars, drums echoed, dancers twirled, and family members cheered. Loco held Sandra's hands as the elders blessed their union. Ibo Kwenu, Kwezuonu. The air was electric. A love that began at the gate had now walked boldly into the palace. But just when the couple thought the journey was complete, an envelope arrived at the Obina mansion, sealed in red wax, and bearing a strange family crest that Chief Obina hadn't seen in over 30 years. He opened it slowly and read. His face darkened. "What is it, Papa?" Loco asked. Obina looked up and said just one word. "Inheritance." The Obina mansion, still glowing from the festive joy of the wedding, suddenly turned cold as Chief Obina read the letter in his hands. His grip tightened, the paper trembling slightly between his fingers. "What is it, Papa?" Loco repeated, stepping closer. Obina looked up, his face unreadable. "It's a legal summons from the Yumioji family." Sandra, who had just entered the room, paused. "Yumioji?" Chief Obina nodded slowly. "Years ago, before I became the man you now see, I was engaged in a land deal, a partnership with my closest friend, Chuka Yumioji. We acquired large estates in Anambra, but when we split ways over irreconcilable issues, I bought him out, or so I thought." He sighed deeply. "It seems Chuka passed away recently, and his son, Ejikimi Miyoji, is now claiming the entire Obina group belongs, at least in part, to their family. He has new documents, a hidden clause in the original contract, and he's demanding 50% of everything." Loco's eyes widened. "Half?" "Yes," the chief said. "He's not asking for shares. He wants control." Sandra stepped forward. "But what does that mean for us?" Chief Obina folded the letter. "It means his family may no longer own what we built. The company, the properties, everything. We're headed to court. If he wins, you'll be starting your marriage with a name but no throne." Loco placed a hand over Sandra's. "I don't care about the throne. We started with nothing, remember?" Sandra nodded. "I loved you at the gate. I'll love you in any house." Obina smiled faintly, his heart warmed by their unity. But the storm ahead was undeniable. 2 weeks later, the courtroom in Abuja buzzed with media and murmurs. On one side sat Chief Obina, Loco, and a team of seasoned lawyers. On the other side sat Ejikeme Yumioji, tall, handsome, and burning with ambition. He wore an agbada just as royal as Obina's, and bore a striking resemblance to his late father. He took the stand with confidence. "My father was betrayed," he began. "He died in debt, while Chief Obina rose in wealth. The documents I present today show he was never fully bought out. This empire stands on broken promises." His lawyer handed in a dusty envelope with original land deeds, signed in faded ink by both men. The judge studied the document, his expression unreadable. Obina's lawyer argued this was settled. The buyout was fair. But because the Yumioji family didn't manage their records properly, they now want to reap where they did not sow. The room was silent. Even Sandra, usually calm, was tense. In the middle of proceedings, the judge raised a hand. "The final ruling will be given in 30 days. Until then, all business operations must be held jointly between both families." Chief Obina's jaw clenched. He's forcing a partnership. Back at the mansion, Loco sat alone in the garden. The stars twinkled above, but his heart was heavy. Sandra joined him quietly. "Are you okay?" "I don't want our first year of marriage to be like this," he said. "No peace. No ownership, just courtrooms and pride battles." Sandra sat beside him. "You once pretended to be poor just to find me. I'll pretend we still are, as long as we have each other." He turned to her and smiled. "You are my wealth." Then, something unexpected happened. A car pulled into the compound. A man in his early 50s stepped out, slim, with wise eyes and a confident gait. He introduced himself to the guard as Barrister Inebili, executor of a Yumioji family's old estate. He was invited in. In the study, he handed Chief Obina another envelope. "I came to deliver a letter written by Chuka Yumioji before his death, unopened until the legal battle reached this point." Obina tore it open with shaking hands. The letter read, "My dear Obina, if this letter is in your hands, it means my son has chosen bitterness over truth. What we built together. But I never intended for him to take what isn't his. I added a clause, yes, but it was never for wealth. It was to keep us tied, to remind you to mentor him if I was gone. Do not fight him. Obina, embrace him. Make him your partner. Let your son and mine lead together, and the world will know that friendship wins over feud." Obina read it again, stunned. The next morning, he arranged a meeting with Ejikeme. "Your father was not trying to take back the company," Obina explained. "He wanted unity, not division." Ejikeme, caught off guard, blinked rapidly. He He wanted me to mentor you, not battle you. He saw my son as a brother to you. For a long moment, Edukim said nothing. Then, slowly, his defenses dropped. I've been chasing revenge. But I never truly knew my father's heart. Loco stepped forward. You're welcome, brother. Let's lead together. And so, the Obina group didn't divide. It expanded, with Edukim as co-director and Sandra appointed head of the company's foundation arm, focusing on women and youth empowerment. Jessica? She returned to her hometown. But months later, a video surfaced on social media. Jessica, now a teacher in a rural school, smiling gently as she helped children read beneath a mango tree. The caption read, "When pride failed me, humility saved me." Epilogue, 1 year later. Under the same mango tree where Jessica now taught, Sandra and Loco arrived with their baby boy, David Chibiko Bina. They were there to launch a new rural library in honor of Loco's late mother. Jessica approached slowly, holding a tray of cola nuts as a peace gesture. "I came to say sorry again," she whispered. Sandra smiled warmly. "You've said enough." Loco nodded. "Let's start over." They shook hands. Three people who once stood on opposite sides of love, now united by time, growth, and grace. As the sun set, Loco looked at Sandra, kissed her forehead, and whispered, "We started at the gate. Now we own the house." She smiled. "And the future?"